So, should we encourage our children to leave Canada if they want to succeed financially? Like, it's a good question with no easy answer, I feel. But it's worth discussing, right? At least talking about it. Or maybe if you're thinking of leaving Canada, like, where do you go? Canada is set to kind of go downhill or at least remain stagnant for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, maybe? Like, who knows? I don't have all the answers. But I think that we're going to go through in this video some of the things leading up to it.
Canada could be sitting on the biggest housing bubble of all time.
Rents are high, interest rates are through the roof.
Got housing, house prices to income ratios that are off the charts. It's got
possibly the most difficult market that many Canadians are facing.
And maybe possible choices that can help you decide if it's even worth staying here, if you're financially better off going somewhere else. In case you don't know, I'm Aaron, a 20-year corporate accountant and analyst. I was born here in Canada, raised here, lived here all my life. And I'm the father of 2 twins, a boy and a girl. So I'm trying to think, what do I tell them when they get older? Like the cost of living, housing, so much has kind of gone downhill in the last 5 to 15 years. So what do they do? But then again, I'm not going to tell my children to go to another country and I never see them again. Like, that's not really feasible. But I don't want them to be struggling for the next 20, 30 years. People always say every time I make a video, oh, you're liberal or you're, PC. I don't have any one political party that I align with. I just don't, because I've been alive long enough to know that so many parties promise so much and very little gets delivered. But if I had a list, the Liberals would kind of be at the very, very back of the list, because I grew up in Alberta, and ever since 2010 onward, it's been really tough in Alberta. And I was just amazed when Trudeau got in for a second term, and I'm like, this is probably going to be bad. And sure enough, I'm like, okay. Like, I don't think another political party would have came in and solved all the problems, but just some of the choices made have been just mind-blowing to me. And it's kind of like a failing company, right? When you know a company is going downhill or facing bankruptcy or will, and there'll be those people that instantly leave and say, you should get out of here, go somewhere else, look for another company. There'll also be those people that are undecided and say, well, I don't know, I'll wait it out. I'm not just going to leave. I kind of like it here, but I don't like everything. And then those people that it be near the edge of bankruptcy before they start saying, well, stop complaining. Okay, I guess there are a few problems. But it really depends on where you sit on the pendulum. Like, say you're a homeowner and you bought your house 20 years ago and it's paid for, and well, you're on a different end of the spectrum than somebody else trying to get into the market, and you're a young person. Like, it just is. You're totally facing different realities. It's no secret that resource production isn't being properly optimized. Our taxes are always increasing, and it's really challenging with housing and the cost of living. So housing, the first thing we'll talk about, housing has increased, and I've made so many videos on it, immensely in the last 10, but especially the last 5 years. It's become so unaffordable. Now, when you compare that with the cost of living, so if you were to look at somebody living in the US, and it's like saying, well, they're getting charged the rates and cost of living housing of California, but they're making the wages of someone living in Mississippi, a lot poorer state. So it's not really a fair balance to say, well, I did it 20, 30 years ago. It's totally different now. Brain drain on Canada, right? Everybody who has somewhat of an academic or educational background is going somewhere else, right? Like, if you have the experience or education behind you, you're going to say, you know what? I can make more money in the US or maybe other countries. I'm just going to leave because I'm overtaxed here and I'm not being paid fairly for my expertise. I might not even be in the job that I was trained for. So we're losing so much great, talented people that Canada should be trying to retain to other countries because they pay more and they get charged less in taxes. Then the next thing is the increase in immigration and particularly temporary foreign workers. Now, I'm not out to get anybody. Sometimes we need these very valuable people, but it went up exponentially in the last 3 to 4 years, like more than all the other years almost combined. Like, it was just ridiculous. Suddenly we need 2 to 3 million people more after COVID than we've ever needed before because some companies claimed that they did. And the government just said, oh, okay, sure, we'll listen to you. We trust you. So the Liberal government said, okay, well, just fling open the doors and get a lot more people in very quickly to fill these needed positions that didn't really seem necessary. Like, why did we suddenly need all these extra people so quickly? Like, it just didn't really make sense to me. And I keep thinking to myself that something else was behind it, but that's what they say. Oh, they just trusted what they were told. So it doesn't really make sense. And now, without increasing housing and just hoping that we'd bring in all these people and housing and jobs would just work itself out, again, really kind of baffles me and makes me wonder, like, what were you thinking? And I keep thinking back to that famous scene in Casino where Robert De Niro's talking to the guy and he's like, okay.
Listen, if you didn't know you're being scammed, you're too dumb to keep this job. If you did know you were in on it, either way, you're out. Get out. Go on. So
either there was an alternative motivation that we're not being told, or they're just that out of touch with reality. Like they went silent for 2-3 years and didn't listen to anybody. Like the public was saying, hey, we can't take this. The economy can't take this. The Fraser Institute of Research came out with a study and said, Canada cannot handle this influx of people. And they just, oh, well, we're going to listen to these small companies. Okay, I don't know what you're thinking, but we have no say in the matter. And the Canadians just have to say, okay, well, we have no choice. We just have to do with what we get. Now, unfortunately, in Canada, many young people are just struggling to get minimum wage jobs, to gain that experience, right? Many can't find a job as easy as other people could 20 years ago. And it's because of this massive influx of people, particularly the lower paid workers, right? We still need a lot of different varieties of people, but we brought in more temporary and foreign workers than we ever have before. And I just wonder the rationale behind that. Like, to me, it just doesn't really make sense. So now when I tell my kids, well, you have to go out and get a job and pound the pavement, well, it's so much harder now to gain that experience. So how are they possibly expected to save up for a house if they can't get a job to get the experience? And unfortunately, these poor immigrants that were brought in, well, they were abused by the system, and we got labeled as having slave labor in Canada. And it was just so offensive to me that these poor immigrants were caught in the middle because these companies and the Canadian government just wasn't thinking, right? The Canadians and the immigrants were put in the middle of something they had no control over. They were told, come on over, international students, immigrants, we need all of you. No, we didn't. Next, GDP, right? And of course, there's GDP per capita, but we'll look at GDP. Sorry, these lights are hot. So it's no secret that the Canadian GDP and GDP per capita is so bad right now in Canada, and will be bad for the next 10 to 20 years, many are predicting. We're trailing behind so many other countries, and it's so ridiculous. Like all these other countries that we think, oh, they're so behind us or what? No, they're ahead of us. They're pulling ahead faster than Canada. So where are we going to be in 10 or 20 years? Like, or is it going to be a struggle to get a job or a house for the next 10 to 30 years? Like, I don't know what to tell my twins. Hey, in case you're new to my channel, I'm Aaron, a 20-year corporate accountant and analyst living in Western Canada. I talk about personal finance, investing, and investment portfolios. If this all sounds like something you'd be interested in, consider subscribing to this channel. Extremely high taxes, and this is something that everybody almost complains about, right? The taxes in Canada are just ridiculous, and the carbon tax is a particularly hot topic. It went away for a little bit, but now it's kind of coming back somewhat, so I don't know. It's a very hot topic and highly debated. But I'll just say that's been a sore spot. But there's so many other things like GST, PST, QST. We got income tax. Like, I could go on and on. I'm an accountant, so I should know this. It's very high, right? Like, we lose so much of our gross income towards taxes and things we don't even approve of because of reckless government spending. And they just keep saying, oh, we're going to do this and this now. We don't want any of this. And you have to balance your budget a lot better. Like, it's out of control. Rising crime. Now, is it rising crime or is it just being publicized more now? But it seems like from everything I've been seeing on social media that it's increasing, right? It's getting more violent or chaotic or protests, whatever. I just want everybody to get along. And, I want my children and my family and my friends to feel safe. And I just, when you're like, oh, don't go out too late at night now, or oh, watch this guy, he looks shady. Like, it just makes you feel so uncomfortable. And I try not to watch the news or social media too much because it makes me feel uncomfortable when I watch these violent crimes and stuff. And yeah, it's getting out of control in so many towns and cities, especially the big cities. In Canada, we have very limited opportunities somewhat. Like, we have no big companies, no real big companies have been established. We aren't innovative or create a lot of things. We don't have like the Googles, the Amazons, the Apples, like they don't exist here. The two biggest companies that have been here, and I made a video on this, have been here for over 100 years, right? And we haven't created any big companies since then. Like, if you live in a small town or something like that, you have maybe 2-3 factories, right? That everybody tries to get into, and oh yeah, these are the medium-sized companies, and it's kind of a joke. Otherwise, you're working in some small retail company, some small business, so you can still make a decent salary perhaps, but most likely you'll be an administrative assistant or doing bookkeeping or something like that, but you won't be a high-paid executive unless you live in one of the big urban centers that are actually very expensive. Then the next thing is the healthcare system. I remember when this happened that I kept thinking, okay, I can't get a doctor, it's taken a long time. It's because of COVID, right? Like, COVID's setting everything back. But then it just kept going. And it's like, it's so hard to get in. What do I do if I have to sit in the emergency room for 8 hours if something serious happens? Like, this is crazy. Like, just to get in to see a doctor or something, there's a wait list, and oh, it'll be 2-3 weeks, or people aren't getting diagnosed. Like, you know all the stories. I'm sure you've seen videos. But it's like, when I get older, am I going to be taken care of? Or are my kids going to be taken care of if they get ill or sick? And the doctors and nurses that are there do an amazing job. I'm not blaming them. I'm blaming the system. Now, in fairness, there are things that the Liberal government has done right. Like, we can't ignore that, right? But I told my wife and my friends, it's so overshadowed by the high cost of living, housing, the increase in population, and a few other things that it outweighs what they've done right. Like, it's like comparing this, right? So it's like if I hit your car and I really trash it, right, for $10,000, but then I show up with a small bag of groceries and said, hey, I want to make up for it. Here's your small bag of groceries. Okay, thank you. But look at this. It just doesn't compare. Now, other countries have their problems too, right? Like the US does as well. I've heard it's better and you have more room for advancement over there, but they have their share of problems too. Like, I'm very informed. I see everything going on in the US as well, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows there. And I'm sure a lot of different countries would be the same, but how do you know what country to pick? Like, do I say, you want to move to Ireland, their GDP is really high, but you have to get over there and, well, learn the customs, or go to some other country where they speak a completely different language, like somewhere in Europe or somewhere. Do I tell my children, move across the planet, I never want to see you again? Like, how do you pick a country? Do you just throw darts at a board? Like, where do people know where to go? And it's not really an easy answer. And I don't want my children to leave, but I don't want them to struggle and have to live below their means for 5 to 15 years. And then maybe if they're really, really frugal, they can finally save up and get that down payment for a house. That was a lot easier 30 years ago. Like, is that what we've become? And I keep wondering what's going to happen in the next 10, 20 years, because I don't know. So I'm really at a crossroads that I want them to stay, but I don't know. I want them to be financially secure as well and not struggle. Another option, of course, is, well, do a lot of research. Pick your top 10 favorite countries that you would actually move to. Research them, look into it, see if that would be compatible for you, if that's where you'd want to go, and yeah, pick from that. And it's unfortunate because we're losing a lot of people. It's called emigration. We're losing a lot of people, both great immigrants and native Canadians. They're just up and leaving. They're saying, I can't take it. It's the cost of living. It's a ton of other factors, healthcare, all of that. I'm leaving. This isn't what I remember Canada being, or this isn't why I came to this country. I thought it'd be different or more welcoming, whatever. And I would be able to build a happy, prosperous life here. So they're just up and leaving. And a lot of them are very skilled people that we want to retain. And they're just up and leaving. So it seems Canada's losing a lot of great people that we should be trying to keep a lot harder. So yeah, like I said, it's difficult. You don't want to just say, well, it's so easy just to pick up and move and you choose another country and then, well, you hope it works out. And then if it doesn't, in 5 years, you move to another country. Like, do you really want to be doing that? So how do you know where to go. But maybe you're in a different boat, right? Like maybe you bought your house a while ago and it's almost paid off, or it actually is paid off. And so, well, that's the plan. You're just going to pass your house along to your kids. They'll live in that, or maybe they'll sell it, live off the proceeds. That'll help them. So maybe you're in a different boat and you're okay, and you're not even thinking of this, right? But what if you're renting, or if you've had a tough time getting by in here and you're thinking of leaving? Like, I don't know. It's really a tough decision. Hey, leave me a comment with whatever your feelings are, because I really want feedback on this, because I can see this being a tough issue, right? Everybody's going to have an opinion, right? Some people are going to say, yeah, you should get out now. Other people, no, quit complaining. You should stay. Well, like I said, it depends where you fall in the spectrum. And I'm sure you've seen it. It's all over YouTube, right? Like why I'm leaving Canada, I'm getting out now, and there's various reasons for it. But I just don't know what to tell my kids, or because I don't know where Canada's going to be in, say, 10 years when they're ready to start getting out into the world. Like, are they going to be able to get a job? And then 20 years, are they going to be able to afford a house? Like parents are gifting large sums of money, to their children. And that's primarily one of the ways they're able now to afford a house. But what happens in 20, 30 years if Canada continues on this decline? Like, is the only way that someone's going to be able to afford a house is that it's gifted from their parents, because homes just aren't being built now, like very, very few, for numerous reasons, and they're going to become permanent renters? Like, is that what people think of? Like, oh, hey, I had a lease, and when my kids get old, I'm going to pass my lease on to my kids. Oh, kids, enjoy the lease. All the best. I hope you enjoy this place, renting it. That's my legacy that I want to pass on to you. Like, that's not my dream. I don't know if it's yours, but it sure isn't mine. If you're new to my channel, I'm Aaron, a 20-year corporate accountant and analyst living in Western Canada. I talk about personal finance, investing, and investment portfolios. I've been investing and studying housing in Canada, well, for a long time. If this all sounds like something you'd be interested in, consider subscribing to my channel. One of the things I am sure about is that, for me, it doesn't feel like Canada anymore. It hasn't for some time. And it just feels sad that things are changing so much, and now owning a house might only be for the rich, and everybody says live below your means, but I just don't think that's practical when you hear somebody saying, I saved up for a house and I was finally able to get it at 45 after scrimping and saving. Like, okay, maybe their circumstances were different, but what's it going to be in 20, 30 years? Oh, I was 55, 60 when I first got my house. Like, it's kind of, actually, no, it is out of control. Anyway, I'd really appreciate hearing from you. And if you're interested, the YouTube algorithm has a great video here that I think you'll really love.